Greetings everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. Bill is conquering the Skull Dungeon. And as you can see, we're looking at a drastically different kind of dungeon. This dungeon, I really like it, especially for the change that it has based on the previous ones. We've got this lava aspect to it, which looks pretty nice, and the puzzles, the layout, I really enjoy it. That being said, it's time to demo something. That's a scent seed. I said earlier that they attract monsters, and apparently they attract monsters even into lava pits. So go figure. We also have a new enemy here, the Flaming Bat, Fire Keese, if you will. Can't really hurt them until they dive down at you, or you could jump up and hit them. Whenever you so desire, but they're pretty damn slow, so you can also outrun them if you so choose. It's time for another colored block puzzle. We're not going to get that blue flame that we want. There we go. Those puzzles are going to get even more convoluted in the future, if you can imagine. With multiple blocks, etc. And whatnots. Alright, so we're going to make our way back to kind of the beginning room again, and this time we're going to branch off to the right. The only reason to go that way is to get a key, obviously, because that's what we got. And as you can see here, you can't progress any further without it. Fucking bats. I hate bats. I hate bats, and I hate flaming bats even more, but hey, whatever, they're not that much of a threat. Alright, so the music. Let's talk about that. A lot of people hate this music. And some people like this music. It's kind of a split thing that I've found. I can understand the hate for it. It is kind of a droning tone, but you know what? I kind of like it. It sounds very Quest to me, which fits the whole Zelda franchise. Anyhow, you want to take the right branching path first, else you won't get a map. Now, someone in the thread mentioned that they want to see the pictures of the maps because they look like the names of the dungeon. As you can see here, we're in a skull. Very fitting for the Skull Dungeon. Now, not all the dungeons do that, but most of them do. And this one is no exception. This dungeon also makes wide use of the rail tracks, a lot like the dungeon from Seasons. And here we have another bank the seed off of the wall kind of things. Good thing we have our trusty seed shooter. And a key we get! Moving on. Make sure you hit that switch or else you won't stop in this room and you'll have to do that ride all over again. And they're not as fun as you think. I just hate fighting these guys so much, I'd rather just set them on fire. There we go. Very satisfying. Now this dungeon is actually pretty short. So, there's that going for it. But it is the fourth dungeon, so after this we'll be halfway done with the game. I just love doing that with the scent seeds. So much fun to see them fall into the lava like idiots. Alright, so this is a mechanic that we're going to see later on in the game as well. Pulling this lever all the way will solidify the lava floor, but as soon as the handle gets back in the wall, the lava floor reliquefies. Oh, fucking... I hate these Stalfos. The orange ones are the worst. Luckily, the Gale Seeds handle them quite nicely. Oh, come on. There we go. Gale Seeds are pretty useful. Most cases, they'll one-hit KO anything. Well, I think I've mentioned that before. But I'll say it again because it's really nice. Alright, remember that jumping puzzle from earlier? Do the same thing here. There's a lot of this focus on color. And I know that we talked about it in the thread, but there was a third game to be introduced in this series. We had, originally they were having the Oracle of Seasons, and then they were going to have a time of day type aspect, which kind of evolved into the time, and then they were going to have a color type of aspect. They apparently scrapped the third dungeon, or the third game idea, because it didn't really mesh well with the link system, and set it up to only 2, and then they merged the color theme into both of the games. And I will end that little history lesson there. I love the happy face on the snakes, as they are being slaughtered to death. Also, Bill only has 1 heart. This can't end well. Alright, so yet again we have another banking shot. Can we do it? Come on. Perfect. One thing I like about this dungeon is it's pretty straightforward. You can do it with very minimal to no backtracking, except for now, because I'm messing up. You have to enter that room from the top first, because we have to set that barricade up, or whatever kind of shenanigans. There we go. Blue for go, remember. Alright, this room gives you kind of a... it's like a rail shooter almost. Except from a top-down perspective. There we go. Killing all those guys unlocks the door to the right of this room, which we're going to be getting to after we go through this one. Of course, as I can see below, we're going to need a key, but that's okay. They're going to give us one along the way. Isn't that generous? Be careful here. All this lava is no good to fall into. I'm pretty sure you lose 1 whole heart. And with only 3 hearts, we can't afford to lose any. You don't have to jump over the square to make it change color, as you can see here. If you actually land on the square, it'll change it as well, which is handy for this puzzle here. Anyway, with our key, we can progress into the next room. I just noticed that Bill still has barely any money. The poor guy. That's a weird little diamond type thing. I wonder what that's for. Alright, the Gibdos are pretty dangerous. They take a lot of hits, unless you set them on fire, which turns them into an orange Stalfos. Which I don't know if that's any better, but whatever. I've got no time to talk about that. It's mini-boss time! A giant Minotaur type deal. He's gonna throw a flying sword around the room. It's up to us to direct the sword into his body. Oh, come on. There we go. Watch out for when he goes apeshit after being hurt. I think about 3 swords will do it. And then we're gonna get to something even crazier. Alright, so now he's pretty pissed that you broke his sword and shield, and he's gonna try and ram you into the wall, but this is where the standard Zelda hack-and-slash mechanics take over. Simple as that. Alright, there's only one way to go. To the south. It's another one of those diamond things. Can't really do anything with them just yet. I'm assuming, though, that we're getting an item in this dungeon to handle that. Just wait and see. Okay, these rooms give a lot of people grief. But if you know how to do them, they aren't that hard. Basically, you have to paint the entire room red while avoiding the obstacles that they put in and killing enemies and all that jazz. The first one isn't very hard, but we get our item of the dungeon, which is a switch hook. Now, some of you who may be accustomed to the hook shot might think that this is kind of weird, but it's the same kind of mechanic which allows you to travel great distances, but as you can see, it latches onto objects far away, and you instantly teleport and switch places with them. Kind of weird, but once you get used to it, it's actually pretty useful. And as you can see, it's level 1, which means that eventually we're going to get an upgraded version. Now, It can't really do damage to anything except for really weak enemies like Keese, or I think it can actually damage these red bubbles too. Not bubbles, gels. A bubble is something completely different. Alright, so that was a pressure switch there. We had to get the diamond to rest on it to keep it going. As you can see, like I said, this dungeon is pretty straightforward. No backtracking whatsoever. I might not have to do any jump cuts here. Go figure. Although I don't want to get too ahead of myself, I don't even have a boss key yet. Sometimes it's easier just to dodge those guys. Alright, don't smash that pot because you need it to get off of this. Or I guess you could throw yourself into the lava if you felt so inclined. But we need to do a little fancy dancing around to get this diamond to stay on the pressure hook. Pressure switch, wow. I've got hooks on the brain. As you can see, it does damage the bats, which is good. I like a long-range weapon to damage the bats, especially since you're not given a bow and arrow in any of these games. Alright, here's another room that we haven't seen since the first dungeon. If you remember, jumping over the middle changes the entire room's color, exposing the enemies. Jumping twice will give you a little bit more time as they have to cycle through two colors. And that's that. Oh, come on. I totally jumped over that. There we go. Alright, this one is a little bit harder to do, so what I'm going to do first is take out the worms, and then reset the puzzle by going back into the room, although I kind of fucked it up because I reset it from the wrong entrance. So resetting it again. Here we go. There's actually several different ways to do this room, but this is one of them. A lot of these I'm doing from memory. Some of them are trial and error. This one I actually got on the first try, so I was pretty lucky there. There are some later that are... I don't even want to talk about them. Let's get a little testy there. And we're rewarded with a key! You would think that kind of effort would net a boss key or something, but hey, whatever, I can't complain. Or I could complain, but I'm not gonna. Alright, so there's the boss door already, and actually up these stairs is the boss key. Like I said, very short dungeon. Very simple, too. I don't know why it's the fourth dungeon. This seems like it could fit in number 2, at least. But halfway through? I don't know. Oh well. I think maybe the lava component and the different kinds of enemies make it a little bit tougher, but... whatever. Another of the lava solidified floor type of things. I didn't pull it far enough. You have to pull it all the way, or else it doesn't work. Now, Bill doesn't have any Pegasus seeds yet, so... it's gotten pretty close. Fucking bats! They're gonna be the death of me, I swear. You mark my words, Bill's first death in this LP will be at the hands of a bat. Although I'm trying to avoid any death. Shouldn't be too hard, unless I'm an idiot, which has been known to happen. Alright, you gotta do a little bit of the pot maneuvering to get the boss key out of here safely. We have to end up getting one onto this pressure switch. Now, pushing that pot up will allow you to get back into this area with the treasure chest and net the boss key. And you know what? There is going to be a jump cut right now. I couldn't let the video go without at least one jump cut. I mean, come on. You guys have grown accustomed to something. I got to keep going in the manner of which you are accustomed to watching. So, nothing under these pots of any use aside from one fairy. I guess if you were Low on life, you could use that, but Bill wasn't doing too bad, so time for the boss! And you know what? It uses the gimmick of the switch hook. This guy's called the Eyesoar. He, I don't know. I get the pun. He's an eye. You can't hurt him unless he is doing this spinning around thing that he does. And the only way to get him to do that, switch him out of his little area, as you can see. A very simple concept, really. One that's very simple to defeat. Like I said, this dungeon's not very hard. Very short, very easy, very dead. Essence time. The Olympic torch! Or the burning flame. Alright, so with the fourth essence out of the way, we are halfway done with this game. Let's check out what the tree has to say. Okay, so now it's time to trek up north of Nehru's house. We're gonna do that next time, though. I'll see you guys then.